for those of you who know the Chamber, you know that we are here to transform business and improve lives. And we do that because we believe any business with the passion to think that it can change the world, well, those are the ones that usually do. However, delivering on that business promise requires, I think, things like law and order. But beyond that also, we have to be engaged, especially in the great policy discussions of our time, which is why we're here at this forum today. So today, I hope you are engaged, obviously. We just had a great introduction outside, but I think also gives us a chance to test our assumptions, and hopefully we go into that ballot box and vote as if our business depends on it. Because, well, it does. So without further ado, what I'd like to do also to introduce our guest is invite my chairman up to make a few comments. And Lupita, please join me at the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, David. David joined the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce about 7 months ago, and so we are so delighted to have him here. Thank you to Emerson College as well for hosting us here, such a beautiful campus. Lupita Sanchez Cornejo, I'm chairman of the board of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to be here with all of you today. I get the honor of introducing our forum speaker this morning. I'm thrilled to introduce Rick Caruso, who is a true Angelino entrepreneur and philanthropist. Rick Caruso is a real estate developer whose retail centers, residential, office, and hospitality properties have helped create community and improve lives. The Grove, the Americana, the Palisades Village are all part of the things that he has created. Rick Caruso has a long and rich history in Los Angeles, where his family started and built a community in Boyle Heights. He was appointed as the youngest commissioner to the city of Los Angeles by then Mayor Tom Bradley, and he has continued a career of service by continuing to help on other commissions, whether it be the Department of Public Works and a police commission, as well as serving on many other boards externally. In 2002, Rick Caruso was appointed by then Mayor James Hahn to the LA Board of Police Commissioners. And as president, he was committed to public safety and improving our communities in Los Angeles. He understands the business community and Los Angeles. Please help me in welcoming Rick Caruso.
Okay. Well, I am thrilled to be here, so thank you for the wonderful introductions, and I'm sorry we ran a little bit late because of the press conference and some other things. I want to say something very particular for Hollywood. I was so inspired by Hollywood as a child that it really formed and became a huge part, and still does today, in every project that I do. And I became a student of what Hollywood was doing in terms of how it was transporting people to a better time and place to bring joy and enrich people's lives. That's the way I describe the beauty of what happens in Hollywood. I'm such a fan of Hollywood. That's also why I'm so dedicated and devoted when I become your mayor to bring Hollywood back, bring production back, above the line, below the line. It's got to be here. And we got to be competitive, and we got to be smart about it. But I just want to tell you a little story. One of my projects that I built out in Calabasas, if you've seen the Commons, we were working with a great architectural firm. The plans just weren't getting to where I wanted the plans to be, because every project that I build, it starts with a story, no different than a movie. And the story gets written down, and actually the story gets given to everybody working on the project, whether you're a designer, a bricklayer, a pipe fitter. So everybody knows what we're building. It sort of gives the soul to the project, but it wasn't getting to where I wanted to be. And so then I had this crazy idea. Now, who builds the best sets? Hollywood. And somehow for movies, they get to build these sets, and they're amazing, but then at the end of the movie, they go away most of the time. So I got a book that's published of set directors, set designers, and I just started calling them. This is 25, almost 30 years ago. And I ended up hiring a set designer that worked in Hollywood to work alongside our architects to bring the reality into the design of what I was trying to create. And what that did for me is it taught me, which I never knew, the incredible libraries that all the studios had of design. So when they needed to design something that would look like a New York street, right, they had every detail for the set directors. So everything I've done has been inspired by Hollywood, down to the notion that there's gates for studios. And when you drive through that gate, you're literally transporting people to another time and place to make great imaginary dreams for people to come true. And the original design of the Grove that unfortunately didn't get built, it had a Hollywood-style gate to signify that you're entering a place of happiness and joy and everyone's welcome here. So that story has no meaning other than I'm beholding to Hollywood. I'm grateful to Hollywood. I'm grateful to everybody that makes Hollywood work. And I want to bring everybody back home to have their craft here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you for having me here today.
Okay, so this is the fireside chat part of the meeting. So, Rick, if I may,
Yes.
I thought I would start with this because it's for Hollywood, as you are aware, and I think it's a core strength of your platform to talk about is public safety just
Yeah.
generally. It comes up all the time in Hollywood. If guests and customers and employees feel unsafe, it's very hard to run a business.
Yeah.
Do you mind
Of course.
talking about that a bit?
So, like all of you, I'm concerned about the safety in Los Angeles. I'm not only concerned about the actual numbers, I'm concerned about how people feel, right? Do you feel safe going down to the street? Do you feel safe going out to dinner? Do you feel safe letting your kids walk down the street or playing in a park alone? And the reality is no. I mean, what's interesting is, you know, Karen last night started her opening statement saying everybody feels safe in LA. I haven't met everybody that feels safe in LA. And here's what's happening. We have the highest homicide rate, murder rate, in recent history in Los Angeles. It's up 50%. More people are now being shot than ever before. The other thing we have to be concerned about, we got, you know, theft and all that going on. We have hate incidents up 200%. So all of you that are in business, Hollywood that's in business, I don't care if you're in the filmmaking business or you have a local restaurant, it's impacting your business because your customers aren't feeling safe, your workers aren't feeling safe, the unions that I've talked to are not feeling safe when they're building buildings, they're on the street side. We've got to have more officers. We're 880 officers short right now, 880. City Council went through a defunding. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is we've got demoralized police because they're not allowed to do their job, and literally are not allowed to do their job, which is crazy. And so what I want to do is hire 1,500 officers, bring back community policing, bring back more senior lead officers. That's the officer that's actually walking a beat, getting to know the residents, getting to know the business owners. They hand you their cell phone. You're not dependent on 911. I did this with Bill Bratton 20 years ago. And this is the big difference between Karen and I. I actually was responsible for operating and reforming a police department. And 20 years ago, we got crime down to levels not seen since 1950. I'll take that again. And that's my pledge to this city is I'm going to work for that every day. That doesn't mean we're going to disrespect communities, not at all. We didn't 20 years ago. We built trust. We respected every community. But you have to have officers on the street and be visible to prevent crime. That is equally important to holding somebody responsible, right? We need that visibility. So I have a very detailed plan. It's going to take a while to hire because right now people do not want to work for LAPD because they don't feel respected. So we have to get out of the defunding business and the disrespect business and give our officers a pat on the back, hold them accountable, no shenanigans by any means, but a pat on the back and just say thank you for protecting our great city, right?
Thank you. Another issue that has come up that I've been asked to touch upon, and one that I actually find extremely interesting given the time is jobs just generally. We have the Fed obviously trying to engineer a soft landing with inflation. One of the indicators today has been a strong set of job reports, which are going to start to obviously be seen as trying to decrease. And people are concerned that that will have a negative effect on LA. And given your history of so much job creation and being a business leader, how do you feel about this? What would you do as the mayor to make sure that jobs do not erode?
Yeah, it's a good question. The mayor needs to understand the economy. The mayor needs to understand the market. The mayor needs to understand business. That's the advantage of being a business person. And you're right. We have an environment now where you have inflation. We're all feeling it, especially those that are at or below the poverty line or even moderate income, making choices between filling up your tank of gas and the food that's going on the table. And now you want to bring jobs into the city. I want to bring businesses back in the city, big business and small businesses. Somebody's going to say, well, are my employees going to be safe, right? And are they going to be able to afford to live here, right? So we got to increase the affordability, build more homes, more apartments in the right areas. We got to reduce the cost of doing business in LA. We need to throw the doors open of City Hall and say, business, you're welcome here. Tell me how we can help you. How can I help you grow? How can I help you hire more? How can we streamline the permitting process? How can we reduce your operating costs? The city is in a competitive business. And just to take your world for a minute, Hollywood, and I know Hollywood is much bigger than just the filmmakers, where did Apple go? They went to Culver City. If I was mayor, I'd be flying up and meeting with Tim Cook and saying, tell me what it's going to take to get your headquarters in LA. Ted did it. And then what did we do to Ted? We allowed encampments around his building to the point that he called me one day and said, my employees now need to take their shoes off once they go back in the office because they're carrying so much human waste from the sidewalks. Can you imagine? This is the city of LA, and this is a company that built their headquarters right here. So we have to be competitive with Culver City, with Glendale, with Santa Monica, Atlanta, everywhere. I want to be competitive. I want to win. And it's going to take all of us working together, but we've got to have affordability and safety in order to get businesses back, because I think right now people do not want, I know for a fact, big companies do not want to invest in LA because they're worried about the trajectory that we're on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the last question I'd like to propose before we go to the floor would be one that's maybe 50,000 feet a bit, but I think it's important too that we're not always on specific issues.
Sure.
Just generally give you a chance to talk about your vision in a broader sense. And maybe the way we could couch it is this way. At the end of 4 years being the mayor, what is the city going to look like?
Good question. A world-class city that we are. We're going to shine it up. We're going to bring back the luster. You know, I said that on the debate stage last night. Clean streets, graffiti removed, clean sidewalks, potholes that are actually filled, all the basics that we forgot to do. Actually, a subway system that isn't filthy and dirty and disgusting and unsafe. I don't know if you've been down there. I highly recommend not going. I spent a couple hours down there writing it. The basics, I don't know why we can't get the basics right. No more encampments on the streets. Homeless will have livable areas with dignity and humanity, the right services for their health care, their mental care, their drug addiction. I was at, and I don't want to take too much time there.
No.
I was so proud I got the endorsement of fire and paramedics, right? They're on the front line every day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're on the front line with homelessness. You go to station number 11, they give out 20 doses of Narcan a work session. They run out. So they're constantly mobilizing all day long, 24 hours a day, responding to human beings. These are Angelenos. I don't care where they came from. We now have them that are dying on the street and overdosing, right? And at the same time, what's happening in this city, which most people don't know, we have the same amount of firefighters and paramedics today that we had in 1965. Think about this. But we have 10 times the amount of incidents and 2 times the amount of people living in Los Angeles. They have been underfunded for 20 years, right? So going back to jobs, livable city, we're going to have the best fire department in terms of the resources they have and the quickest response times to Angelinos. The best, most reformed, progressive police department. After school programs, making sure that kids don't fall into the gangs, right? We're going to have a city where businesses want to come back. We're going to have parks that are clean. We're going to have beaches without encampments. We're going to take care of the future of the city. I just want to get it on the right trajectory, which I do not think is going to be that difficult. Hard work, no doubt, but not difficult. And then we're going to celebrate having the Olympics here and the World Cup. And people are going to come to this city and say, holy Toledo, LA is back. Wow. And you get tourism back, investment back, development back, right? The best in music, the best in the arts, the best in everything. Technology, we should be the leader in tech. You know, let's go raid San Francisco. Nobody wants to be up there anyway. We'll take you down here. Right? I mean, come on. Let's go have some fun with this. We're the greatest city in the world. That's what I want. World-class city that we're all proud to wake up in and inspired and proud, frankly, to hand off to our kids.
I did talk about being engaged, so I think we're there. Thank you. We would like to, I think at this point, shift to some questions from the floor. So if it's okay, we'll open them up.
Sure.
Thank you both, and appreciate your vision for Los Angeles. When the world thinks of Los Angeles, they think of Hollywood, and so we're very proud to have all of you here.
Right.
Yes, to be here with us today, and looking forward to working as we continue to make our streets safer and cleaner, bring back business. And when we think about the last couple of years, the Hollywood community was one of the hardest hit in the country and the globe, because we have entertainment, because we have tourism here. And so we're looking forward to coming back and having that vision to open up. So now we were going to open it up for questions. And there's a few people who would express interest, and I'll have you stand and go to the podium to my left.
Mr. Caruso.
Hi. Call me Rick, please.
Rick, thank you. You'd already mentioned support for motion pictures and television production and bringing production back to Los Angeles. You also mentioned job creation. And of course, Hollywood, we support both of those very much so. I live in off Beverly, just north. I live on Kings, just north of Beverly, and over the last 2 months, I received some mailers in the mail that were explicitly against the expansion of Television City with new stage space and office space right there at Beverly and Fairfax, in addition to a text message that I received asking me to support, or asking me actually to not support the redevelopment of Television City. So how do we reconcile these two? And I understand that your company paid for those mailers and the phone calls. So how do we reconcile these two Carusos that are either pro-studio development or possibly anti-studio development?
I'm glad you asked that question. Great question. I am completely in support of the redevelopment of Television City, always have been. What we have said to those developers for probably a year and a half now is their traffic plan doesn't work, right? And the impact on Farmers Market, the original Farmers Market, the Grove, the park, the apartments on the corner, all of that area, we've just asked them to redistribute the traffic, and they refuse to do that, right? And so they can solve this problem very easily. I know as a developer that's built a lot of projects, we always listen to the community. Traffic is always one of the #1 issues. And the very large production trucks that they have loaded on the Grove Drive, it doesn't even make the turn, so they have to do 3-point turns. So that means the whole street gets shut down when a production truck is coming in and out, and they've got production trucks coming in and out literally around the clock. Easily solvable. I have never opposed a project in my life, and I don't oppose this one. But I do oppose a traffic plan that is going to really impact that residential neighborhood.
All right, thank you. And my understanding is that your company hasn't negotiated with the developer in over 3 months. Are you open to coming back to the table?
I love rumors. There's a CEO of my company, Corinne Verderay, actually that comes out of the studio production business. She used to be a senior executive. She has spent more time with the executives that are developing CBS. I can't do it. I stepped away from the company. But Corinne's available. There's been discussions. The farmers market owners are available. The Gilmores are available. They're right alongside me. And I don't think anybody wants the farmers market to be impacted, right? That's one of our historical monuments. So let's just do the right thing and fix the traffic problem. Thank you. And
Hi, Rick.
can I just say one other thing? As mayor, just so you know my perspective, I will work hard to defend the protection of single-family residential areas because you want to maintain those and the quality of life. That's the most important thing. Yes, sir.
Rick, I'm Oscar Arslanian, the publisher of Discover Hollywood magazine, a publication about the unique culture and lore of Hollywood. And frankly, you pretty much answered my question. I had a question about the CBS, expansion of CBS that's going to be bringing about 18,000 people to above and below the line and to entertainment business. And you very, very well stated in your opening regards how you feel about the industry. And I'm glad to hear what you just said. And I'm very glad to hear a lot of the other things you've said in all the meetings that I've attended. So you've answered my question.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Good afternoon, Rick. My name is Jeff Zarinum. I'm the chair of the Hollywood Sign Trust and also the president and CEO of the Hollywood Hotel and the Hollywood Distillery in Hollywood. Lifelong Angelino and Hollywoodian. And my
Great name. I didn't know that was a
Hollywoodian.
Hollywoodian.
You didn't know that existed.
I love that. That's
People
great.
born in Hollywood are Hollywoodians. So my question is really directed from the trust side. I don't know if you've probably seen all the press. The sign is coming on a centennial in 2023. We're painting it right now, and it's really to the credit of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce that has been taking care of the sign since 1949, and then later on through the branch of the Hollywood Chamber, which is now called the Hollywood Sign Trust. So the trust has received the most common question for the Hollywood Sign Trust is the sign ever going to be lit? And everybody has had many opinions, especially from the political side. And as you know, and as if you mentioned, we have world events coming into the city of Los Angeles. We have the World Cup. We have the Olympics coming. And one of the things that we want to know is, does the Hollywood sign support, do you, Rick, support lighting up the Hollywood signs for special events such as those?
Well, I might be stepping in something here, but it sounds pretty cool to me. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we do get opposition now and then, and
You know what though? This is, and I bet you do. I bet you do. You'll never get everybody to grant anything. But it's like you go to great cities, and they light up their great architecture. They light up the bridges, right?
Exactly.
You know the DWP building, which I was president of DWP for years and years and years. Have you ever seen it lit up? When I was president, I finally turned the lights on. It was like politically incorrect. Don't waste the electricity. I get it. I get that. And you got to be careful with that. But, find a source of electricity that's renewable. Let's use that to light up the Hollywood sign. If you see the DWP building, it is a piece of art lit up. So, yes, let's celebrate the beauty of this city.
Thank you very much.
We have time for probably just a couple more questions, so we'll have to be very brief.
So I got a quick question. My name
Try
is
to
Jack
run
Gillis.
through them all real quick.
So as a world-recognized retail developer, what are your thoughts around the revitalization of Hollywood Boulevard and the Walk of Fame from a retail perspective?
We got to bring it back. I would work my tail off to do that. It's one of the great streets in the world, and it's got some of the great architecture in the world. So I will be a champion of that. We got to do it. But you can't get new retailers and restaurants unless we start cleaning it up, getting the encampments off. And, I walked it a few weeks ago with a lot of you. But, no, you got my vote on that.
Hi, my name is Tana Stag. I'm the Executive Director of Women in Media. And first, Mr. Caruso, I'm sorry, but I have to correct you on something. As an outsider to the entertainment industry, maybe you didn't know this, but I think you meant production designer as opposed to set designer. There's a massive distinction between the two.
He called himself a set designer.
Then he
so-
was a draftsperson and not a designer.
Okay, well, whatever.
That being said, so my organization, we are filled with women and gender nonconforming people above and below the line. We have a multi-pronged approach to getting more folks into the entertainment industry with education, with networking, and so on and so forth. Television City and Hackman, they have been very helpful in terms of that education through illumination, training for grip and electric, and production design as well. So we are all about bringing those jobs, keeping them in LA, right? That is what's going to help make our workforce more sustainable, and for these folks to work into better paying, high production value jobs where they can continue to provide for their families, provide for our communities. I would like to know, what is your commitment towards expanding the sound stages that we need to keep those jobs here? Because right now, they are bursting at the seams. I talk to people on my advisory board who say they have to go out of town to find space. So I would like to know how you're going to support places like Television City and the sound stages within Los Angeles, if you have a firm commitment towards that, and if you're going to come to the table and talk to them and actually help them move forward on their plans.
No, listen, it's a great question. And as the mayor, I would step in the middle of the Television City thing and say, listen, let's find common ground here. That's how I built every one of my projects. I didn't snap my fingers and the Grove popped up, right? We had to find common ground and get support. So that's what I would do. And we got to have more production space in the city of Los Angeles. I don't want it going out.
But as the owner of the Grove, their neighbor, are you being a good neighbor and helping them do that?
Of course I am. What would you like me to do? Would you like me to have a traffic plan that shuts down the streets around the farmers market, that the people can't go shop there? And you got, what, about 200 small businesses that depend on people getting in and out?
I'm
Right,
not
the
entirely
farmers market-
sure that the farmers market will be shut down because of an expansion at Television City.
No, if you can't get to it, if you can't get to the parking. Have you looked at their traffic plan on CBS? You should read their traffic plan. Read the traffic plan, and I'm happy to talk to you about it.
I'd like to talk to you about that too. Thank you.
Okay, you got to read it first, though.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Oh, this poor guy's got the mic. And
Thank
can we
you.
do one more?
Aaron
I'm sorry.
Sportsport, Motor
Of course.
Gospel Ministries. I operate an anti-street racing campaign for the Los Angeles Police Department.
Oh,
And
God
I have
bless
a very
you.
funny, brief story to tell you. One of the shops that supports our anti-street racing campaign was taken over by homeless people who are also friends of mine to whom we minister. They took over the sidewalk and everything. They brought rat infestation. They were ruining this poor guy's small business. So I called some other friends at the Dream Center and said, hey, can we get some beds for these homeless guys? And they said, yeah, bring them. And I offered to take the homeless guys to the Dream Center, give them beds. They said, no, we're good. We like it here, destroying this man's business. And it gave me the thought that maybe these ACLU protections that are favoring the homeless over the small businesses into whom they're bringing rat infestations, maybe they could be waived somehow if the homeless refuse enough invites to free beds. Would you support some kind of legislation that would say if you've refused 3 invites, you give up some of this protection to destroy small businesses?
Well, what I do support, and what my plan has, you can go to carusocan.com, is building enough places for everybody to have a bed and feel safe and get the services they need. And then once we have that, then you're no longer allowed to have encampments on the street. We actually have laws that you're not allowed to have encampments. They're just not enforced. Thank you. Hi.
Executive Director of LA Community Alliance, a nonprofit here in Hollywood. And I wanted to ask you about your views on immigration. Presently, we have about 900 working off their debt, their debt to society by doing service or labor, picking up trash from city streets. And I'm seeing there people who don't have a right to work but have to live here with petty theft and the crime. And I'm seeing it with the lines for groceries because they're not allowed to work here. It takes 5 years for asylum applications. they're being allowed in massive numbers, which is going to double, if not triple, in November, December, when the COVID thing is lifted. How do we stop them from ending up on the streets, or what views or plans do you have to address this issue?
Well, I wish I had, listen, I think we need to have an immigration policy that is fair and set. We haven't gotten that out of the federal government, which is unfortunate. So my feeling is, listen, I'm a grandson of immigrants. I grew up very close with my grandparents who immigrated here. I have an open heart for people that are coming across the border for a better life, just like my grandparents did. They worked hard, you know, and they had a big hope of the American dream, and their American dream came true. My American dream came true beyond belief. So I would embrace them, and my feeling is they just want a chance to work hard, be in a country that is safe and clean, and raise their family. And my God, let's figure out how to welcome them and give them that opportunity.
But they're not allowed to work.
No, they have to be able to work. They absolutely, but this gets back to Dreamers and this whole thing. We issued a statement on Dreamers, in fact, I think yesterday, that we can get you a copy of. Yes, sir.
Hey Rick, first thank you. I was at the Grove last Friday night. There was a band playing and I was dancing with my little girl. By the way, dancing more than any of the other dads out there.
Good for you.
And a thought crossed my mind. I was like, I am in paradise. Nothing gets better than this. So thank you first for that experience of family. It was awesome. In terms of young people, I really love what you said about after school programs. I work with a non-profit and we do leadership programs for underserved communities. We know that it cuts down binge drinking, reduces anxiety, provides community, gives them purpose, and paves the way to higher education. I'd love for you to talk about a little about your vision and heart for our young people.
Yeah, I'll do that quick and then we'll wrap up, but thank you for that, and thank you for being at the Grove. Tina and I, for 40 years, have been involved in South LA, Watts, and East LA, Skid Row area with programs for those that are at or below the poverty line. Para Los Niños, if you know that school, incredible school down at Skid Row. We've supported for over 30 years. Operation Progress, that has programming. We have 300 scholarships. We have children that are living in the projects, Nickerson Gardens, Imperial Gardens. We started in 3rd grade with a scholarship. We take them all the way through college. We have children now that are in MIT, Columbia, Harvard, Stanford. How about that, right? And that is the best thing to make sure people are not falling into the wrong hands. And we have after-school programs, so when they're done with school, they're actually staying busy, because most of the parents are all working, right? And so they're coming home to an empty house, and we don't want them coming home to an empty house, because sometimes you'll wander off and become friends with the wrong people. So I want to expand all of those things that we have throughout the city of Los Angeles. I'd love to learn more what you're doing, but we literally have organizations in the city that are doing God's work every day that we need to give more resources to and support. So that's my plan. But I want to identify the ones that are doing great. And here's the other thing I learned from Dick Reardon. Probably a lot of you remember when Dick was mayor. Dick had this trick. If there wasn't enough money in the city to support like after-school programs, he would call everybody in town that he knew, and he would say, okay, I'm donating $100 grand. Are you going to be a cheapo and donate less than me? And he would shame everybody. And within a few, he did this, and he was brilliant at it. He'd raise a couple $1 million and start funding programs. And I want to be able to do the same thing, because my belief is there's a lot of successful people here in this city who want to give back, who want to lean in and help programs. They just haven't been asked. And so I'm gonna have a busy phone. But thank you for your question and your comment. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Caruso, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to all of you. And I, of course, do know Mayor Reardon. I was a deputy mayor under his administration.
You know that trick that he had.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at upcoming events.